Okay, hello Andrew. Well done. Welcome back. We got cut off at the Naomi Klein speech last week, right?
Yeah, as you can see, we're wearing different clothes.
I kind of I've got before we get back into that Naomi Klein speech, I've got a couple of things that I want to just bore you with. Well, not bore you. Thank you to the sponsor, After Hate Mints.
Oh,
And
boom.
the Buckfast as well. We're getting sponsored by the pesky Franciscan monkeys that are responsible for 80% of the violent crime in the Buckfast Triangle, which is Coatbridge, Belt Hill, and Airdrie, right?
Yes.
And they are responsible for 80% of violent crime.
No, that's you're twisting the statistic. People involved in 80% of the people involved in violent crime drink Buckfast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I'll just get this out of the way because we're relaunching this T-shirt on Tuesday, and you can buy it at Everpress. If you go to Everpress and write Catherine Hamnet, you can get us T-shirts, 30 quid. We in our first run, the first campaign, we sold 300 T-shirts, and we've got 62 orders for the next one. We made 10 grand for Palestine.
Great stuff.
The company takes 7 grand. We get left with 3. We took 500 for like various things. In the end, they get 2 grand. And we're going to try again anyway. I don't know how that's how charities work. I don't get it, but the company got 7.
Is there any other company you could use that would have a lower profit margin?
The thing is, they deal with the orders, the posting, and everything. So, and I think that's how it works. That's how business works, you know. But I want to be transparent about it. That's why. And we got 65 views. Thank you very much, which is the most I've ever had. So we're going to relaunch it. You're freezing, man. Okay, you're back. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I did freeze there. We're just waiting to get new fibre optic fitted.
Yeah, you're breaking up. But anyway, I wanted to get that out of the way before we get back into the money's going to go to Olivewood Oasis in Palestine, and also we're trying to help this team called Cilician FC go on a tour. And we know it's possible because the team that Celtic helped, the team that the Green Brigade helped, they're going on tour of South Africa this summer, and that's with the Green Brigade money. So well done to the Green Brigade for getting the Ada Celtic on tour. But they're getting sponsored by Cantona and Primal Scream and all that. But it's great that they're getting a tour.
Definitely. Am I still here?
You're still here. I think that's all my kind of stuff out the way. So we got cut off at the Naomi Klein speech where she was talking about Zionism being a false god and the 10 Commandments and Moses in the basket. I wondered what you thought about that.
Yeah, it was a powerful speech. You say that you've now watched it since we spoke last.
Twice. It's really eloquent, succinct, and brilliant. It was really brilliant speech, Naomi Klein.
I heard her getting denounced on the radio this week by one of the, I think it was a postgrad student at one of the universities that's currently the protesters getting, said someone who doesn't know their history and never mentioned Jerusalem. Which all this kind of petty kind of point scoring between interfaith, you'll often hear people who are critical, Jewish people who are critical of the Israeli government's actions in the Holy Land. They will talk about being described as bad Jews. There's a good Jew and there's a bad Jew, because the whole notion that some of these protests in the American university campuses are anti-Semitic, what breaks down is the very fact that actually a number of the protesters themselves are Jewish. Naomi Klein herself is Jewish. That's where she was coming from, a Jewish standpoint. Mm-hmm. They consider their religion has been debased. You saw it with Jonathan Glazer, the Zone of Interest director and writer, when he picked up his Oscar. He said, I refute my Jewishness being used to justify an occupation.
That's the biggest. Yeah, you use the Holocaust as an excuse to do another Holocaust, which that's disgusting. Holocaust denial is bad enough, but using the Holocaust to do another one, that's worse, man.
Yeah, well, we don't want to get into those kind of like Hitler versus Stalin kind of debates. All it is it shouldn't be it shouldn't be hijacked, as Jonathan Glazer said,
Well, they're
and brought
vilifying this. They're
the full
vilifying
weight.
these peaceful protests. They're vilifying them. They're saying they're terrorists, and then they're going in hard and dispersing. That's what happened this week. The update is this week. It was great to see the students doing what they're doing, but the way they got, I think it was 2 nights ago, the way the police went in and tore the camps apart was
Yeah,
horrifying.
yeah. I mean, then you heard the New York mayor who stated that. I mean, it was just a blanket. It was a really imprecise words. Imprecise words are dangerous because he said, you know, our young people are being radicalized, as if that in itself, as if they have an opinion that some consider radical. You know, they're only radical depending on what side of the fence you're on opinions. It's like George Galloway used to say about when people said, what about the problem about Celtic singing songs about the IRA? He said, there's only a problem for you if you've got a certain view of Irish history. You know, so these things, it's always point of view. But the mayor just said, our young people are being, you know, we need to stop it before it gets too late because our young people are being radicalized. What's wrong with being radical? That's what you should be as a young person.
It's not radical to say stop killing women and children. That's not radical. It's just humanity, and the humanity's gone, man. And that's what I wanted to get into with the spiritual. I call this thing spiritual thirst. And I wanted to talk about the Ten Commandments, Moses in a basket, wedding at Cana, these beautiful stories. And it's the humanity's gone. And like, if what about that Moses in the basket thing, you know, that she spoke about in the speech?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
You know that story? Do you know that story?
Just that, you know, like we sent down river to save him in the basket, and then
From
the
a
basket was
genocide, I think. Was it?
Yeah,
It was, wasn't it?
yeah. Because they were killing all the children. They were killing all the children, and so he was put in a basket and sent down river, and that's when he's picked up. That's why I think Moses then was of a certain kind of regal. He was picked because I think it was that his circumstances were completely changed by the fact that who essentially adopted him. You know, if you look at that, there's echoes of that in the fact that Jesus was born in a stable. It's not a stable isn't in the sense of how we know it, but it's like an outhouse, if you like. You know, a barn at the back of it, or you know, and kind of an overspill area of the actual inn. I think it's been kind of it's morphed into this straw and you know like animals and such like. But I don't know if it was quite as kind of down market as that. But it's that, and again, he was a refugee.
Yeah,
Jesus was a refugee. Yeah, because he was fleeing. Yeah.
They're trying to say Palestine doesn't exist now as well. I mean, there's that Palestinian. I mean, it doesn't even matter that sort of territory and religion and politics. It's not important anymore.
No. What's important is before the turn of the last century, when there was an influx of kind of Zionist Jewish settlers, and there was issues, but the people in that area had coexisted peacefully before that.
No problem.
For centuries. And then this whole movement, and that's why I think Naomi Klein has gone particularly for Zionism.
Yeah, her main point was that you're worshipping a false god, and that false god is Zionism. That was her main point, I think.
Yeah.
It's very important, and it's the same as it's going back to the Ten Commandments: don't kill, don't covet, and don't worship a false god, which is Zionism. I think she's right there. It was a great point she made that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like people get blinded by, but we know where Netanyahu comes from, because if you've seen the video of him in his younger days, and he's over on an American lecture tour, and he said, look, there's 27 Arab countries Why do Palestinians want a 28th? Why don't they go to one of the 27 that's... Yeah.
They've been
So
open
they're,
about
these are
genocide.
Zionists.
They're open
That's
about
a,
it.
yeah.
There's
Well, they're
no
open about
hiding.
it's an openly ethnic cleansing policy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what Zionism is. There's a by its very nature, an element within Zionism is ethnic cleansing.
And people are scared to use that term now. Like, and there's going on about Infidada like it's some weird violent terrorist thing. Infidada means uprising. That's it. Point punto. It just means full stop. Infidada uprising. It's nothing to do with violence.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same. We're just saying all these words get debased. Like radicalism, as if radicalism in itself is wrong. As if Infidada in itself.
Intifada. I get that. I do that as well.
Intifada. I know. Sorry. It's like you know how you say people when people are talking about an asterisk and they're talking they say asterisk as asterisk the goal, but it's asterisk. You know, an asterisk. But people just say asterisk, don't they?
No, you
An
lost
asterisk.
me. I don't know what you're on about. You lost me there, man. Sorry.
Oh, you know if you're talking about having an asterisk at the end of a sentence or whatever, or you know a key in a if you're in a book, you'll see an asterisk, right? When
Like,
people say asterisk, and it's asterisk like asterisk the goal, they put
right.
an X and end it, and it's a
I would say
TIC.
asterisk as well. I would say asterisk, but it's asterisk.
Aye, an asterisk.
There you go.
An
Yeah,
asterisk.
yeah. I would say asterisk.
So it's like, I'm sorry, but my intifada. Did I say it correctly there?
Yeah. Okay, like
Yeah,
so,
you
like
can't- yeah. It's like words of power. It's the same woke. When you think about the origins,
woke gives me the
etym-
woke. Sorry, I'm joking. It does. It's like
etymology of
politically
woke,
correct.
as in no, it was as in be, stay, it's awoke. It comes from awoke. It's to do with the civil rights movement. That's why it's been so the far right. That's why there's such and even the right wing commentariat. That's why they've such derision towards it, because it's got its origins within the black community. It's like stay awoke.
Yeah, wake up, be aware, be self-aware of what's
be alive
happening.
to prejudice. Be alive to prejudice and discrimination. There's nothing wrong with that.
Wake
It's
up,
a great
people.
word.
Wake up, be
Yeah.
human. Killing babies and killing women and killing men as well. Sorry, but killing men's pretty bad as well. Innocent men.
Yeah. Invariably, it's men.
Yeah.
Invariably, it's men that start war.
Have you heard of these expressions, mow the lawn, and now the new one's called lavender? They've got these beautiful, lovely pastel, mow the lawn, lavender. You know what these things mean, the lavender thing and the who makes these things up? Does that come from the Jewish politics? I mean, the Israeli government, sorry.
It's just a way of probably not a word such as euphemize, but you find euphemisms for when you don't say. I've always talked about my mum and dad being dead. Mum and dad died, or when my mum and dad died, or whatever. But a lot of people say, and I understand, but I'm not saying, but my mum passed on.
That's the way.
I lost my mum. It's like the bottom line is my mum died. So I talk about, but people they try to soften it. They try to soften it. It's just maybe a natural. Yeah, it's just maybe something kind of a streak of human nature, isn't it? An element of human nature.
What do you think about these? The students have been. I mean, this is what they said. This is what they're really afraid of it. That's why they're going in hard, because that's how they brought down the South African government, and it's what we've been waiting for. I've been waiting for it for 6 months for the Americans to wake up and get woke, and it happened. It's been happening over the past few weeks, and they're going in hard, man. They're trying to vilify these students. They're trying to say they're crazy or they're lost and they need something. And then you see some interviews and they're perfectly coherent and educated and brilliant, intelligent people.
But they've been campaigning for their institutions to divest from companies that arm Israel. They've been campaigning for this for years.
Yeah, but they've not been camping out and protesting and getting in.
I know. So this is just it's just an escalation of what they've been asking for years, but it's more acute now.
It bounces back and forward because Britain's behind in some. Britain's okay with they walking in the street, but they're not good at this sitting down, camping out, getting into Edinburgh University, which is guilty, and it's been guilty for a long time, Edinburgh University, and just getting in there and camping. And so you don't walk down the street, you sit down in the street and you stop the traffic. You don't just let the traffic go on a Saturday morning, no problem. You need direct action is the only thing they'll listen to, and they need to lose money. And the boycott as well.
Yeah, boycotts work. McDonald's have demonstrated that. With
Ronaldo was like, Coca-Cola, no, drink water, folks. They lost $1 billion when Ronaldo done
that. Yeah.
Well done, Ronaldo.
Now Apple. I know, fair enough. Fair.
That's the thing they don't teach you at school. Like, there's two things they should teach you. Forget about everything else. They should teach you how to breathe properly, and they should teach you to drink water.
Yeah, I was pretty bad with it. I mean, I'm really good with it now, but it was water. It was almost kind of sneered at. So we've got really bad health.
Shitty cow's milk, you know.
I know.
Even Thatcher took that away.
Yeah, but like it's a genuine inspiration. What the American universities college students are doing. It should be an inspiration to all.
Yeah,
because if
they get stuck back in, and the British, and they should get into that Edinburgh Uni and shut that place down as well. It's a barrel of snakes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, let's get on to more important, serious matters. Today, if Celtic win, they could probably win the league. I think we can relax a little bit if they win today. They could even get beat by Rangers next week and then win the next match and they still win the league. Am I right there?
Yeah. The goal difference could still come into it in that scenario, but I wouldn't
I'm
imagine.
Excited. Can you see him?
It is exciting. It's exciting.
For the first time in 15 years.
That's what I was saying to my boy, because he's never really known anything like this. It was 2011 was the last really close kind of title race, and there is something that really kind of get the senses, doesn't it? It just
if we win the day, we've done it. We can do milk chocolate lemonade, smell the glove, feed the bear with me, and all that.
But I don't think it's quite done today. If it puts a lot of pressure on Rangers tomorrow, if Celtic win today, in the sense that they would go into that game 6 points behind, knowing if they dropped anything, really, as you say, it would be over, even with a game at Celtic Park to come.
But you would imagine,
if you imagine if Celtic, they need to win. If they need to win the next 2 league games at home, that should be within their gift. That should be within their talents.
Isn't it those guys next week, whatever you call them, Sevco or the ex-Rangers?
I'm
just trying to wind you up.
Yeah, well, don't bother. Hey,
zombies.
End the call.
I just got zombies.
Don't.
The misunderstood unfortunates from Govan.
We have to pitch it a bit intellectually higher than that, and I don't approve of any of the previous statements made by yourself there.
Famous Glasgow Rangers wasn't it some sort of English rowing team like Cambridge and Oxford, sort of English posh boys team?
Not quite. No, but there was an element of that, but they were just guys, of that area of Glasgow kind of thing, the Gallant Pioneers.
The Gallant Pioneers, right? Let's hope the Gallant Pioneers. I like that.
Can't be as gallant in the next 2 weeks. That's what you're hoping for.
How would you describe the Israeli government then? Are they Gallant Pioneers as well?
Oh, they're you know what really has upset me about the situation in the Holy Land this week?
No.
Is if you noticed that Congress said that 4 units of the IDF, you know how all monies that the American government commits to overseas have to meet certain tests, and they have to meet certain tests that if they're used.
Print it anyway.
What's that?
They just print it anyway. It's bullshit.
I know, but if they're used, if the money's used to buy weapons, those weapons must not be used in a manner that breaches human rights.
Are you talking about settlers in the West Bank?
Yeah. So one of them, it's a militia. Some of these weapons went to a militia, which is settlers in the West Bank, who have been found by Congress to have breached all the agreements, the memorandum that they have with the American government, that these weapons won't be used against civilians. So 4 IDF units, and I think this militia. And then, so they said, well, this has got to go before the International Court of Justice. But the American government this week came out and said the International Court of Justice has no jurisdiction in what's happening in Gaza. How can America decide that? How is that? How is that? How is that in the proper? How is that in the authority of America to decide where the International Court of, by its very nature, the International Court of Justice has to be beyond the control of any state. It has to sit apart from any state control. But you know, they've never signed up to it. America's never signed up to it.
That just goes back to the lobbies, and they're just controlled by the money from wherever it comes from. Isn't that all lobbyists? So they've all got, each politician is being paid and sponsored by somebody, like some dark person who's anonymous, but they're all getting backhanders all over the place. It's completely corrupt, right?
Oh yeah. It's a horrific system of government. It's because you need to raise billions even to stand. What kind of democratic system is it that if you don't have billions behind you, you can't be elected?
It's kind of like
and
that.
where do you get those billions? Yeah, in most countries,
The
you need to
golden
make
rule.
trade-off.
Do you know the golden rule? Do you know the golden rule?
What's the golden rule?
Them that have the gold make the rules.
Yeah. No, I don't know how we change it. Well, you know how we change it? We need our young people to become so radicalized they just simply don't accept it. We need more radicalization.
Yeah, I mean, like there's been, I don't know if you've heard, but like I called this spiritual thirst, this conversation spiritual thirst, right? Now it seems to be like I pay attention to these people like Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan and Russell Brand. I do pay attention. Sorry, because these are the people. No one watching the media. These are the people that have got millions of viewers. These are the people that they don't pay attention to the Guardian, which is full of lies and controlled by someone, and the New York Times. That's who they listen to. Joe Rogan, Lex Friedman. In London, it's, I don't know, Russell Brand. I don't know if you know any other ones, but they've got the power at the moment, and the young people are listening to that. YouTubers, I mean, like this bullshit, you know. And they're talking about Christianity.
Well, that's my fear.
There is a shift to Christianity right now, which I didn't realize. I mean, they're all converting to Christianity, which is, I suppose, it's great, you know. Young people.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard that. Okay.
No,
I mean, I knew that.
Russell Brand
that in America there was an. All right, but maybe he's trying to kind of, so he's got mitigations, and if there's any court cases come up.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about that. I mean, we're all guilty
for
of
the
that.
allegation.
Let's face it. And we all need forgiveness. We've got. I mean, whenever I watch Russell Brand, I agree with almost every single word he says, man.
What about vaccines and all that?
Well, I mean, that's different from different situations, and I think that he talks about local governments and local situations. I mean, here I've not been vaccinated, and when I go home, in the West Bank, nobody's vaccinated because it's a different situation, you know. And in a big city, okay, whatever. I don't know, in the big city, you come from a big city, you live there, so. But I don't know if you go down that road.
Well, in the occupied territories in Palestine, like the population density is among the highest in the world.
Well,
so that's where.
Oh, you spoke about that with the priest. Tell me the priest's name again, and tell me that, because we've got 10 minutes. Like, what was his priest's name again? I forget his name.
Father Gabriel Martinelli.
So he dealt with that, didn't he?
He their little organisation cared for 45,000, which was 60% of the people with COVID, and they're a Christian population of only 1,000, and the Catholic population is only 135, or it was before the war. Who knows where this war had, using that word, before the genocide. But he retained. You're talking about a spiritual thirst.
Yeah.
His spirituality, it was just it was beaming out of him.
Yeah,
Because I think I told you about how he said it's hell on earth, and then he said almost. He said, he said, but the world is hell on earth. He said it's not just. He said almost. He says it's not just in what's happening in the Holy Land or whatever.
Well, this is what I've realised since I went to Bethlehem and I regained some sort of spirituality, which I'd lost all my life, you know it. Now it came back to me, and I was talking to Sonny about it as well, Sonova, and she said that she works with refugees up near Aberdeen, and she said all these people that have some faith, they're lighter, they don't expect anything, they work with some sort of lightness without expectation of sort of something coming back to them. They have this beautiful, and I've seen it myself, there's a beautiful lightness to them, people of faith.
Yeah, well, that's what he had. And it was like, I thought, I just can't believe how kind of the bearing of him, as I say. And it was the same with I told you about meeting the surgeon, who also said that about the Palestinian people that he'd met when he was over in the hospitals in Gaza.
Definitely, they don't expect. They not expect they just do things, and they don't expect anything to come back. But people in the Judeo-Western society, they always expect something. Even my son, it's like a blackmail situation. Wash the dishes. Don't get the screen. Do this for that, and it's bullshit, man. If you're a spiritual person, you get your reward within yourself, because I think that's where the
but that's it's neoliberalism, and prior to that, it's the way that the capitalist model's set up.
It's monetizing everything, man. The internet's monetized now. Like we've got 2 minutes left, right? Because it's monetized. So if you've got
it cut off after a free half hour? Yeah,
we've got a big day. Good luck to Celtic. And this last 2 minutes, I wanted to do an update on the situation, just fast, and see what you think. Right, there was the food was getting parachuted in and killing people, right? Then the aid workers died in the ambulance, right? And then there was the self-immolation, right? And then there was the arrest and violent dispersal of peaceful protesters. This week, two hunger strikers died in Israel. They were incarcerated for no reason, and they were tortured and died. And this is kind of, all these little things are adding up to some sort of shift, I think, in consciousness of the whole world. And I think it's happening with this spirituality, and I think we should be hopeful. And after Johnny Doyle, Tommy Burns, and Larsson, we got Nakamura, but who else?
Who else? Well, we've got plenty.
After Nakamura, it's James Forrest, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, in terms of the kind of the title winners, it'd be brilliant to see him scoring again today. Yeah, he deserves his renaissance. This is a rebirth. You're talking about your spirituality. There's been a rebirth for James Forrest. It's a physical rebirth. It's a physical rebirth, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
He's the third top goal scorer ever, right? Number 3. Is that right?
No, I don't think so. No, he's one of 30 players to score 100 goals for Celtic. There's only 30 players who scored 100 goals for Celtic, and he's one of them.
There in the top 5, no? Ever goals?
No, he's the top 5 in the sense of scoring consecutive top flight seasons since the Premier League came into existence. Right. There's only 4 players have scored in at least 15 consecutive league campaigns, and he's one of them. So his longevity is top 5.
And who's
and his medal.
You would agree with me? There's Johnny Doyle, Tommy Burns, Larsson, Nakamura. Would you agree? Who else would you put in there?
What is this?
My favourite players. My favourite.
Pantheon. All right, Tommy Burns would be in there for me. Yeah, Johnny Doyle was there. Yeah. Who's well, no, James Forrest. Yeah, I would agree actually. The man, Nakamura, like yeah. No, that's a good. That's a
Talking
good
about
spread.
football's entertainment. You got to remember that. And these guys entertained.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Nakamura,
watching.
and by the way, Di Canio I would put in there. I'm sorry, but I would love
I
to go
know.
and watch him play.
I know. You can't deny his entertainment value. You can deny him for everything. You can renounce him, reject him for everything that he is outside the football pitch. But on the football
He's a
pitch,
gallant pioneer.
yeah. Lubomir Moravcik.
Yeah,
In terms
definitely,
of
man. He's a good guy.
how
He
many
was
how
worth
many
a
players
watch.
could ever trap the ball with their backside?
That was
That
two
was a great
seasons we
moment.
got him, wasn't it? 2 seasons?
Maybe even more. And he was at 32 at the time. Yeah,
Well,
and I've got yeah. So I look. So is the free, like you said, it was 2 minutes. So is the free thing running out now?
Yeah. I think I've covered everything. You want to explain smell the glove before you go?
Oh, it's really difficult, is it not? They all,
That's
I spoke
something
to.
to do with the goalie glove going up somebody's rear end.
There's loads of apocryphal stories. Do you know? But you know what they didn't even know that they claimed to, because I've asked Tom Boyd about it since. They claimed to not even have known anything about the Spinal Tap.
Definitely
No,
not. These football players don't watch Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
Unless you're like,
But-
there's somebody we missed. There's the Pat Nevin, but he didn't play for Celtic, but he would have maybe known about Smell the Glove. And McClare and like Owen Archdeacon. I mean, these guys were a bit savvy, weren't they?
Yeah, maybe a bit more savvy. Owen Archdeacon was someone actually. I've got I've got my own podcast on Celtic Underground coming up in the coming weeks, and he was actually someone I thought about trying to track down.
Definitely, he's got a brilliant name anyway.
I know.
So,
Maybe it held him back a little bit.
I'm just going to do a plug before we go. Like, Mary's Well on Instagram, and you spell well with a 3. Please like, follow, subscribe, share, comment. Our YouTube channel. Is there an
apostrophe in Mary's Well?
Mary's Well, yeah. I think there might be, I don't know. And then we've got a YouTube channel if you want to know about our charity, which we did pull in 10 grand. Obviously, only 2 is going to Palestine, but we're going to try again. And maybe if there's anybody who wants to reach out, t-shirt companies, or if anyone
would give you a better deal. Yeah.
How these charities work.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of there can be in certain charities, there's a lot of kind of stuff that's skimmed off, for people are still making profits.
Yeah, it should be about peace and justice. I mean, I would be happy to give the t-shirt company a few grand and then we get 8, but they took 7. Now they've been great with us, but they've dealt with everything, and it's but
yeah.
Business is funny, and charity and business when you mix it up.
Yeah, it's a very difficult one. It can be difficult, but there's good charities out there.
Thank you a lot.
Lovely to see you again.
You're this has been a good day. This is going to be a good day with a good guy. You've got a quiet mind, a gentle heart. You're kind, peaceful, agreeable. Or was it a quiet heart and a gentle mind? You're smart, generous, positive attitude. You're a handsome type. You make me feel safe, warm. You're loving, forgiving, understanding. You're sensitive. You're comforting and clear. You're a beautiful, happy, and helpful guy. You're together, friendly. You're knowingly forward-thinking. You're ingenious, patient, careful, industrious, hopeful, bold, unique, caring, neat, and clean. You're a wise, healthy, dreamy, sympathetic, welcoming dude. Thank you very much, Andrew. Peace and love.
Well, thank you. I don't deserve any of that, but that's I'm humbled. I'm humbled. You must have got it for somebody else. God bless you.
I love you, brother. I love you. Shala.
Peace and happiness.
Shala.
Peace and happiness.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Over and out.